Good day. Um, I already made a video of all the what I call the scary stuff for landowners in South Africa. That is basically uh, encroachment upon your property rights, as if I can explain it that way. Um, it is things like land claims, labor tenants, rights of habitation by other people, etc., etc. I made a video about that. I put the link in the description below, so you can go to that. It is a video in the Afrikaans language with English subtitles, and it's more comprehensive than the one that doing now. This one. This video is purely about land claims, and the reason I'm making another video about this is firstly, I find that the land claim issue is the more acute issue, the more relevant, the more in your face thing. So, so, and also, I find that South Africans became aware and accustomed to this whole land claim thing, but to foreigners, it's a complete foreign concept. So I decided to make a video about land claims specifically in the English language, so it can be more user friendly for the foreign buyers. So, um, so the history of this land claim thing is in the 1800s. That is the 19th century, the 1800s. South Africa was basically two independent states and two British colonies. The two British colonies were the Cape Colony, today the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and Northern Cape, and Natal, today KwaZulu Natal. That was the two British colonies. And then you had the two independent Boer republics, the Orange Free State, today it's called the Free State, and the Transvaal, which is also divided up into, today it's Gauteng, Northwest, Limpopo, and Mpumalanga. Those days it was called the ZIR, the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republiek, meaning the South African Republic. So these were the four pieces that made up the later South Africa. So what happened in 1899? The Anglo-Boer War broke out, where the British decided they have to conquer these Boer republics, and the conquest was completed about 3 years later in 1902. South Africa became the Union of South Africa by conquest under the British flag as a British protectorate or whatever, colony, protectorate or whatever. So in 1910, South Africa became the Union of South Africa. It later changed in 1961. It changed to the Republic of South Africa, which is it still today. But okay, the important date is 1910. Then, shortly after South Africa became a unified country, in 1913, 1913, the first legislation appeared on the South African statute book, uh, discriminating against black people on the basis of their color on land issues. And that continued until various legislations after that and so on, and continued until, let's say, 1994, when South Africa became a democracy. So when South Africa became a democracy in 1994, there were negotiations, and there was a statute put on the statute book or the law book. How do you say it in English? Um, the Restitution of Land Rights Act, which basically the principle basically is every black person whose land rights were infringed upon based on race-based legislation can register a land claim with a land claims commissioner, and then there was a land claims court established, which still exists today. Everything still exists today, and then this whole injustice of this land land distribution based on color is to be addressed by this and rectified. So, uh, so, so the first the first legislation that infringed upon black people's land rights was in 1913. So the Parliament decided, well, we're not going to go back forever. We're going to look from 1913 onwards. If there was infringement on land ownership of black people based on race-based legislation, from that date on, it must be rectified. So how the process worked is that somewhere in 1998, the exact date, I'm not 100% sure now, it can be the 13th of October, it can be the 31st of October 1998, but around there was the closing date. So black people, it was widely advertised in the media. Black people who has a claim must register the claim with the land claims court. So, or the land claims commissioner. So that was duly done, and the date for lodging claims was closed, and from then on the process went to restoring land rights. Now, there's a few things that you must know about this process. The first is that many claims were frivolous and without any grounds. So many claims have been dismissed by the Land Claims Commissioner either outright or through the Land Claims Court. But many claims are still registered. Now, what you also must know is that the Land Claims Commissioner concentrate his efforts firstly on where there is a greater concentration of people, where a bigger amount of justice can be done in a shorter period. In other words, high density areas, in other words, cities and around the cities and so on. He focus, but the other claims, the more rural claims, they're still there, they're still waiting. Now, the other important thing that you must know is when a claim succeeds, normally these claims are by communities on a specific piece of land. When the claim succeeds, the claimants, the black people, has got a choice to either get the land back or get monetary compensation. So 90% of them prefer monetary compensation. So the land claims get finalized, they get paid out, and the claim is lifted, and the landowner just continues. The current landowner, which is 99% white, just continues with his life. And then in certain instances, where the claimants prefer to have the land back, the government buys the land from the landowner and hands it over to the claimants. So another important thing that you must know is that if a land claim succeeds, the government doesn't take, or nobody takes the farm without compensation from the current owner. It is not expected from the current owners to pay the retribution, or what you call it, of the past. The current owner didn't cause this problem, and it's not his his problem. It is the problem of the state and the taxpayer. So if the claimants succeed and they prefer monetary compensation, they get paid by the government, by the state, nothing to do with the landowner. If they want the land back, the government expropriate the land from the owner at a very reasonable, and when I say reasonable, it's reasonable from the seller's point of view, price. I have never heard a landowner complain about the price that they're getting for the land. So it's a good price they get, and they're off. So these are important things to know. And then so this is how this land claim issue works. And if also what I need to say is that many of these, especially these rural land claims, many owners, they prefer just to do nothing. The claim, whenever the government gets to it, they will look at it. But for now, they just continue with their lives. But many landowners push this thing to the court and want to get finalization. Maybe they want to sell or so, and because buyers don't like this idea of a land claim on a farm. So there are many land claims just hanging there, and there are landowners who push them to finalize it and get it finalized and whatever. So this is something that we as South Africans and everybody who owns land or who wants to buy a farm in South Africa must know is there are huge areas where there are no land claims. So we agents and the people who work in the business know what areas has got land claims, what areas don't have land claims, where you can expect land claims or not. But in my marketing area, which is the western half of the Limpopo province, there are, I would say 90% are no land claims. But buyers insist on doing a land claims. You can just do a land claim search with a land claims commissioner. They reply in writing. There is a land claim or there's not. They never say there's not a land claim. They either say there is a land claim or they say there's not a land claim that they are aware of. Okay, they keep their doors open, but by now we know. But so most buyers don't like the idea of buying a farm with a land claim, which is understandable. But now there is something very important that you must know. When was it, 2008 or what, 2009, President Jacob Zuma took over the reins as president of the ANC and of South Africa. And I am not going to hesitate to state that he is one of the most corrupt human beings on earth, in my view. Many people will disagree with me, but he destroyed South Africa. He destroyed our economy. Under him, this state capture took place, and he was just a wrecking ball for South Africa. And under his administration, this land claims issue was reopened, and black people were invited again to register land claims. And I want to make the statement that there's no farm in South Africa without a 2016 land claim. But let me put it the other way around. If you are aware of a farm in South Africa that has not got a 2016 land claim, please let me know. Because every farm that I work with, everyone, if you do a land claim search, there always is 100% a 2016 Jacob Zuma corruption claim. So what the Constitutional Court decided with his 2016 Zuma corruption claim, firstly, the correct procedures through Parliament weren't followed to get this law through. And the Constitutional Court referred it back to Parliament and said they must do the correct procedures. Now, to the best of my knowledge, that has not been done yet because Zuma was eventually removed by the ANC itself as president and replaced with Cyril Ramaphosa because they noticed that Zuma is not only ruining South Africa, he's ruining the ANC as well. So, to the best of my knowledge, that correct parliamentary procedure has never been implemented yet. And secondly, the Constitutional Court ordered that these 216 land claims cannot get processed. They cannot start processing them before the 1998 land claims has been finalized. Now, at the current rate, the 1998 land claims will take 200 years to finalize. So, and then thirdly, these 2016 Zuma corruption claims are not even nearly complying to the Land Restitution Act. It's all frivolous claims. So it's something that basically we can just ignore it as if it doesn't exist. But what I want to tell you as buyer, and whether you're now a South African or a foreigner, if you are going to run away from a farm because of a 2016 land claim, don't even start looking at farms. Don't even start making phone calls. Don't phone agents. Don't phone landowners. Don't drive out to farms and view them, because you are going to find a 2016 land claim there. And if you don't now already make the decision that you're going to ignore that, don't even start viewing farms. Yeah, so these 2016 farms, land claims, please just ignore it. Just ignore it. Even the 1998 land claims, yeah, you buy a farm, you want it for the rest of your life. It may happen that in 5 or 10 years you get expropriated. You get compensated properly. But I know people want to plan permanently. I found that with farms that fall within the expansion range of national parks as well. The moment a national park identified a farm to expand to, they negotiate with that owner to buy, but the owner doesn't want to sell to him. But that farm will not sell in the open market because buyers don't want land where they know somebody else, the government wants to buy it and they're going to nag you or they're eventually going to expropriate you. They want permanency. So that's basically the only reason why you won't buy where there is a land claim. But so, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. If you like a farm, buy it. Don't worry. It's not that bad. Okay. Thank you. That's all I want to say.